Hello and welcome to Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and today we are doing an in-depth discussion of Rings of Power. Caleb has been researching the show, watching every single episode in slow motion, making sure he knows about all the characters.
Yes,
Very excited about Rings of Power. Cannot wait
absolutely.
to talk about it.
Yes. Elrond fanboy right here. Uh,
Yeah. Have you
um,
have you been seeing the ratings on that? How it's like worse than season one, and
yeah.
like I follow like different people online. Like some people
hmm
I follow hate everything.
Yeah.
Other people I follow love everything. Even the people that love everything are like giving up on the show. They're like, we're
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Uh, so I actually liked season one. I didn't think it was like amazing or anything, but like I enjoyed it well enough. Like, and I'm not a huge. I say that as not a huge Tolkien fan. Like I didn't really grow up with Lord of the Rings or anything like that. I ended up watching them when I was much older, um, and so like it's not. I guess like it didn't hurt my feelings a whole lot because like I wasn't like invested in this for like 20 plus years. But yeah, I haven't even tried season two. Like I might out of curiosity, but honestly, if it ends up getting canned, which it might, because I know that they've spent a lot of money on.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many seasons they were committed to. I know definitely two. So
It was definitely two, and I think they wanted five, but who
yeah.
knows? Um, but
Hey, you want to know why your subscription fees went up on Twitch? This is why.
yeah,
Because they spent way too much money on Lord of the Rings.
yeah. But no, we're not actually going to be talking about Rings of Power today.
No.
Uh,
That's
s-
next week. Next
yeah,
week.
oh
No,
god,
no.
no, we're talking Bones of Power next week.
Bones of Power.
Um, but in honor, uh, on Wednesday, it's Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which day. Uh, the long awaited, and by long awaited, I mean even before it was announced, 20 years long awaited, Marvel versus Capcom collection comes out. And so in honor, I was inspired by Maximilian Dude because he did this probably about a month ago.
Mhm.
And then Matt McMuscles posts his today.
Yeah. I was like, oh no.
uh, no, it means that we're getting better at this. We know what the
Yeah.
people want.
Yeah.
So we have our Marvel versus Capcom roster, but this one's a little bit more interesting because I did the Capcom side as someone who has his ear to the ground with the fighting game community, and I love like even the deep cuts of Capcom. I had Final Monkey do Marvel as a Marvel Comics fan,
Hmm.
which I think made the list turn out interesting. There's a lot of characters that my fighting game people would be surprised, like, oh man, they're not there. But that's kind of the point of the experiment. But before then, how was your week?
It's been a stressful 2 weeks. I'll be honest.
Sure, sure, yeah.
So I'm actually taking tomorrow off to kind of chill out and reboot.
hmm
So my viewing of Babylon 5 has slowed down some. I'm in season 4, and kind of the main threat has been dealt with. So they kind of gave me an off ramp. I was like, no, I'll stick with the show. I'll keep watching.
hmm
And so other than that, what was the other thing I was doing? Oh, One Piece was epic today. The chapter,
hmm
and I keep telling you every week we are heading towards the end game, and it
and
is ramping up.
you tell me this every week for the past 10 years.
I, I mean, I still think there's like 5 years left of the story, but it is we are just like pedal to the metal now, and it's
So
great.
is this shonen or shinen? Like, is this coming out weekly or is this coming out monthly?
It's weekly.
God.
He does take breaks though, like he'll do like 3 or 4 chapters and take a week off.
Okay.
So, but yeah, he is like he. I think he got really shook up. Like he's mentioned this when the Dragon Ball creator passed away, and he's like, okay, I
Hmm.
really got to start taking more better health, you know, better care of myself. And he's
Hmm.
been taking more breaks and stuff. So, which is good for him.
That is so great because a lot of time that you know what, that is the opposite of what Stephen King did. Because when faced with his, because at this point, the One Piece creator, kind of faced with his mortality, it sounds like.
Hmm.
Um, Whenever Stephen King was faced with his mortality, whenever he got hit by that car back in the late '90s,
Hmm.
um, he just chugged out for the last four novels of the Dark Tower, because like he didn't want to die with it unfinished. Uh, and if we're being honest, the story kind of suffered for it. Um, but
So
yeah, that
you're saying that we need to hit George R. Martin with a car? Is what we're saying.
oh man, you know what? I don't. That might be too tall of a speed bump. Um,
We fit him
but
with 3 cars. Do it again.
oh man, oh man, yeah. So, um, as far as my week, I
Oh, real
oh
quick,
wait, yeah,
we just tried to go see Beetlejuice yesterday, and they were all sold out. So
that's
I don't
good.
know. Yeah, I was kind of like, wow. Okay, it's a 30-year franchise. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone at work is talking about it, and so people seem to be having a good time with it. I think we're definitely going to be seeing it. Not this week, maybe next week, because my
Hmm.
parents are out of town, and my mom is the one who really wants to see it.
Right.
And so, uh, yeah, I think we're definitely doing a show on that in
But probably be in
October.
October. Yeah, for
Yeah,
Halloween, we'll do a
yeah.
Beetlejuice show. Maybe we'll
Um,
watch some episodes of the cartoon. Also, we'll see.
Maybe, yeah. I saw that you drew a little bit of you said it was inspired by the cartoon. Honestly, when with your Beetlejuice, I thought it was like in the style of Animaniacs.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's just the vibe I got, and I thought it was pretty cool. But like, if that's the vibe of the cartoon, then sure.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I'm getting into spoopy season myself. I don't know. I'm just like watching horror. I mean, I watch horror movies all the time. That's nothing new for me.
Hmm.
But I started watching a little bit of a Lucifer. I like Lucifer, the show. Uh, and
So we've got me. We've got you on film now, or recorded, saying you love Lucifer. And you got me on recorded saying I love Bone. So
yeah,
we're
right, right. Yep, yep. I was about to say, I was about to go too far. Well, I'm not going to go that far. Yes, so I like, I'm a fan of the show. And I'm also like making a Caleb hot take. Is like, is this a, I honestly don't know people's view on the show. I thought it was popular. So I don't know if this is like the hot take that I love.
uh, it's one of those
Yeah.
brands I just avoid because I'm like I'm a Christian. I can't just support a show called Lucifer.
Mhm.
But I meet so many Christians who are like, oh yeah, I love that show, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, I I I grew. I mean, I watched uh Keanu's Constantine.
Hmm.
Like when I was a kid. So like, if I'm being completely honest, like uh hot take that you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Most people don't say it out loud. Usually they keep that deep down inside, and only say it whenever they're under the Hollywood sign. Uh, um, but yeah, I mean, You know what it is? I actually don't know what it is about like demons and witchcraft. It probably has to do with, this. That's a great album. Hail Satin is a great album by Foo Fighters. um, I don't know what it is about. It might have to do with like being a pastor's kid, but like I don't know. Just it's always
I
been.
think there's always a fascination with that's the taboo subject that you're not supposed to go near. Like
Yeah,
I think they're like I know a friend of mine is like like I would call him like a Bible scholar, and like his favorite movies are like exorcism movies and stuff. He's always like going to go see
yeah.
those stuff, so it is
Mm.
a weird
And, and
thing
and
that
and you know
happens.
you know what it is. Some people react to it differently. I have a friend who we grew up very similarly. He's also a pastor's kid, but as much as I'm fascinated with like hexens, witchcraft, and all that, he can't handle it.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
people take it differently. So uh, and I just love it really comes down to Tom Ellis's acting. He is the actor who plays Lucifer,
Hmm.
and so it really comes out. And I've kind of been uh, I've kind of like studying his mannerisms and whatnot because my friends we're about to end our D&D campaign that we've been doing for about a year now, and we're gonna be starting up a new one. And I have an idea for a character, and I'm like, what would be cool is if like he had the the mannerisms of Lucifer, just very I don't know what it is, like the he whatever it is, there's a subtle sexuality in everything he says. it's
Well,
it's really interesting.
I think there if you're playing that character, he should be likable and seductive because
Mhm.
that is what he is. He's
Oh
you're
yeah.
tempted by
Oh yeah.
the evil. So
hmm Um, but getting off of that, and we're going to another hot take of mine. Um, I have a question. Do you enjoy watching videos of people's pain and suffering?
sometimes it
Okay.
depends. Like, what was that show that the guy from Jackass had? Killer Karaoke or
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
know that
really
one.
liked that show, and I showed it to my friends, and they were like horrified, and I thought it was hilarious.
So, and whenever I say pain and suffering, like America's Funniest Home Videos, all that's funny. I'm talking like this might be where I lose people. It's like the emotional pain. So like,
It depends on if I like the person or not. It
it, well, so this one uh, only when it's funny pain and suffering. So let me just get to what I'm getting at. I am obsessed with watching people's TikTok reactions to their accounts being $90,000 um, in the negative because they committed check fraud. I don't have you heard about this?
no.
Okay. So there was a TikTok that came out. Okay, this is interesting. I thought this was more well known. Um, there there was a TikTok that came out where they discovered that there was a glitch in Chase Bank's system where
No.
if you write a fake check
Yeah.
and you deposit it, and then it'll immediately like put the money in your account, and
Just withdraw it real quick.
you can withdraw it real quick before it bounces. And
Oh.
so they were calling it the real life infinite money glitch. And so there
Wait,
were
what? What? Hold on,
yeah,
because you're going to end up owing the money and plus a fee on top
I
of that.
I know. and so people I mean, this was all over the news. People were lining up outside Chase banks And they didn't realize that they didn't realize they were committing check fraud. Because this is not an infinite money glitch. This is check fraud. And so
Yeah. What? Okay. When I we used Chase, and my oldest son got an account, and we met with the bank manager, and he went over all this in great detail about da, 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 da. So I mean, I don't know if these people just weren't listening, or well, I don't know.
I let let me see if I can find one of these. Give me a second. But essentially, I've been enjoying watching like these people. Um,
Yeah, if you're stupid, and that's
yeah, yeah,
funny. Yeah, I'll have
yeah.
to watch some of these videos.
I'm gonna see if I can find the original. Like, we're like, oh my god, it's a infinite money glitch. Like, let's see.
So I put on the screen one of my favorite Mel Brooks quotes while you're looking. Tragedy is when I cut my finger. Comedy is when you fall into an open sewer and die.
Let's see. Okay, I think this one should be good. Um, and so I kind of attribute this like because another form of like emotional pain that I enjoy watching is I love watching the bad American Idol auditions.
Oh yeah.
Most people cringe at those, and I'm like,
No, that's the only part of American Idol I watch, and then I'm out.
there are maybe like 2 or 3 people in the history of American Idol and the Got Talent or whatever X Factor. There are like 3 people where I'm like, I actually feel bad that you're like that you're in the, even though you've put yourself in the situation. I feel bad that you
There
are in.
are some people that mentally don't understand what they're doing. Those people I feel sorry for.
Yeah.
But it's the other ones that no one has ever told them.
Dozens of TikTokers could face jail time after the infinite money hack goes viral. The so-called glitch at Chase Bank's ATMs allows customers to withdraw huge sums of money from their accounts after depositing fake checks, causing waves of people lining up at banks and flaunting their cash online.
Hide the money, y'all! There's poor people around!
But experts have pointed out that this is simply check fraud, punishable by fines and jail time, as some TikTokers have found out the hard way after the bank took the money back from them, whether they've had it or not. Dozens of TikTokers could face
what?
Oh no! There are people who are like $90,000 negative. It's amazing. And so, oh man, I mean, it's been amazing.
And they spent that money right away. Those people are so screwed.
Oh yeah.
Imagine if they bought cars and stuff with that, and then your cars get repossessed. Well, not necessarily, because you just got to pay that money back. You're just going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
man.
Darwinism at work.
My brain works that way sometimes too, where I'm like, oh, I think I know a glitch, but I'm not willing to try it. Because I'm like, oh, if you just put the wrong address on a stamp, and you put the address you want to go to in the top left corner, or on a stamp, on a letter, and you put the address you actually want to go in the left hand corner, like the return address, and then just don't put a stamp on it, they would mail it to the right address saying it needs postage. But I'm not willing to try it because that would be like mail fraud.
Yeah. And
So,
I mean, I can tell you an infinite money glitch. As it turns out, if you hold a gun to someone's face, you can get whatever you want with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real life glitch.
yeah. There's no consequences.
You know what it is? This is like the final form of the infinite food glitch. Have you heard of this one?
No, I haven't heard.
So the infinite food glitch on TikTok was a couple years ago, maybe about a year and a half ago or something. And it's just someone. Results may vary with Caleb. No. Here's the thing. You will get money.
If they have to have money first.
Yeah. That's the thing. That you have to have money. But I mean, you will get money, but you may also get your own bullet in the face. That's a possibility. But the infinite food glitch was essentially TikTok discovered farming. Because, like, hey, if you take this piece of lettuce and you eat most of it, but then you put the stump in the ground and you give it water, it sprouts. And so they were making a big deal about discovering farming and growing your own food.
Yeah.
And so, never does, never does. I like Iron Man 3. You should have learned this by now. That might be not in my opinion, but I know a lot of people think that that's my worst sin, which is amazing. It's Farmville IRL. Oh my god, yeah, it's.
I thought you were going to say the plot to Superman 3 or Office Space, the rounding up the pennies glitch, but yeah, depositing fake checks into your account.
Yeah. Well, at least Superman 3 and Office Space is like kind of smart because like you have to have coding experience.
Yeah. The only way this infinite money glitch would work, and I'm not telling people to do this.
Well, you can't. So they've already fixed it, so you can't do it anymore.
So if they had done it, it's then to flee the country and start a new life somewhere.
Right.
That's exactly the only way.
And at that point, it's I mean, you have to wire transfer unless you really intend on taking all these bags of money onto this plane, and they're not gonna check you,
right?
Or if you intend on hopping the border to Mexico, which just as dangerous with bags full of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Is Lucifer and watching people financially bankrupt themselves and go to jail. It's been a good week.
Yeah. So speaking of good weeks, is there anything in the news? Anything going on?
Oh man. So here's I don't know. We haven't talked about this at all, so I don't know if we differ. But there was this video game trailer that came out this week.
Yeah.
The video game movie trailer that came out this week.
Mm-hmm.
For this, I've never heard of it. It's like a game called.
It's a very niche game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's like Farmville or RuneScape. Minecraft.
Yeah, I never heard of
it. First of all, before we get into the trailer, I think it's funny that they call it a Minecraft movie. Like
a bunch of them.
What do you remember? Do you remember the cartoon Doug?
Mm-hmm.
They had a movie, and it was called Doug's First Movie. And it's the only one. And so a Minecraft movie.
That reminds me of Bill Cosby's film Leonard Part 6, and there's only one of them.
Right. But yeah, so there's that. How did you feel about the trailer? And please, if you be honest as you can be.
Okay. Well, yeah, we have not discussed it. I think this is like Nick Jr. presents Minecraft. This is. It reminded me of when I was a little kid, and Transformers the animated film was.
I'm not putting that on the screen, Jonathan, but I see it.
Yeah, it reminded me of like. This would have been like, I guess, the early 90s, late 80s. They would do these intros for Transformers animated film where this little kid was running home and Optimus Prime would talk to him. And so it was like a mix of live action and like this puppet Optimus Prime. And he's like, well, Justin, how was your homework? And it was like these two things didn't go together.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt. And I felt like I've heard several people make this comparison, but it was just like Jack Black just walked into the studio with what he had on. It was just like, "Hey, I'm Steve," and they didn't even try anything.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Steve, and and
There's that's what I wanted. I wanted that movie.
and I don't know why Jason Momoa is cosplaying as an 8-year-old girl from the 80s, but here we are. I don't know. I don't know what this trailer is. I'm sure the 1-year-old that we babysit would love it. But I don't know who else this is for.
I have some friends who think that it looks stupid and fun, like turn your brain off, whatnot, and I'm just like, I'm kind of sick of turning my brain off, you know.
It looks awful.
Honestly, first of all, this should have been animated. Like,
there's 2 ways you could have done this. You could have done animation, and even if you do Mondied it, where they started in live action and then ended up as animated characters in Minecraft, or you do the I Kill Giants route that Joe Kelly did a few years ago, where it's a girl's imagination while she's dealing with something horrific where her mom has cancer. So it's like a kid seeing Minecraft everywhere because he's trying to escape from this horrible situation he's in.
Well, that's kind of the Lego movie.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's what I assume this is kind of aping on, is like this reminded me of them trying to ape on Barbie and the Lego movie, but like the worst parts of both.
It reminded me of the Play School movie. You remember when that came out?
No.
It came out after the Lego movie and no one knows about it. I watch the trailer for that sometimes. It's yeah.
Jeez.
So this does bring up a good question, an ancient debate. Is Steve smiling or does Steve have a beard? I've always thought he was smiling.
Yeah, I've always thought he was smiling too, because for all intents and purposes, Steve is not a character. In fact, you could play through the entire game and not know his name. He's a self-insert for the child, and a child does not have a beard.
The other thing that happened when I was watching this trailer is I forgot he was playing Steve. So when he appeared on screen, I thought he was going to say he was Notch, the creator of Minecraft.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like, welcome to the world that I've created, da da da. So,
but if I'm being completely honest, the thing that bearded Steve gang, jeez.
All right.
So it being completely honest, where I genuinely land on this is this is going to be a movie where kids are transported into a video game Jumanji style, and then something weird is going to happen, and then they're going to say, well, that just happened, and then that's the entire movie. It's
pretty much. Yeah.
It's going to be filled with. It is going to be filled with the most insincere Joss Whedon comedy dialogue, and it's something that we've had to suffer through for the past 12 years, and I am done with it. If you're going to make a Minecraft movie, make a Minecraft movie. Don't make a parody, because that's all we make now. Is like, even if even Marvel films are parodies of themselves now.
I cannot wait for Jason Momoa to say, "What is this? Some kind of Minecraft?"
That'll be yeah. That's yeah. Yeah.
You know what the movie should have been is somehow, the portal between the Minecraft world and our world is open, and creepers.
Yeah. He's right. He's right behind me, isn't he? Exactly.
Yeah. Creepers are leaking into our world and blowing things up, and now like the FBI is hunting down. Is this a new, angry group or whatever? And then they found it's just video game characters leaking in. So then it's
Yeah,
this whole push to ban video games because they're too violent because the creepers are blowing up everybody.
And Kevin James would play the president, and
Yeah.
he'd get his childhood friend who's a pro video game player, Adam Sandler.
No, Chris Pratt. It'd be Chris Pratt.
No, it'd be Adam Sandler because I'm just talking. This is just the plot to Pixels.
Oh, okay. I have not seen Pixels.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the plot to Pixels is what you're talking about, except it's Donkey Kong and Pac-Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
See.
Um,
And I'm not saying what I said was a good idea. I'm just making up crap. And they're like, no, we already did it. Okay.
One more thing before we get to the
They just need a hug.
yeah. One more thing before we get to the main topic. You sent me something. Marvel for Dummies.
Yeah, they're actually making a Marvel for Dummies book series.
Who is this for?
I don't know. I mean, I assume if you've seen the maybe it's if you've only seen the movies and don't know what they are, and you're like, okay, where do I start with comics? Maybe I don't know, but they, I don't know.
But my thing is like we have like these comic collections like the greatest Joker stories ever told or the greatest Batman stories ever told are like those like just come out with the greatest Captain America stories ever told or the greatest Spider-Man stories ever told. I don't know what the for dummies. I don't know who that's for.
Yeah, I have no idea. Introduce readers of all ages to key Marvel comic book characters, their superpowers, strengths, weapons, allies, and enemies, and more. Readers will be introduced to key storylines that have been woven through Marvel comics for decades and learn the essential facts and foundational backstories necessary to understand how the comics and characters are interrelated.
Hey, give me 1 second. You're starting to go in and out, but I think it's on my end, so I'm gonna leave the studio real quick and come back.
Okay, but yeah, we've had several of these books already in the past. I mean, I've got several on my shelf. You know, Stan Lee Presents the Marvel Universe, or you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy Encyclopedia, or Character Guide, or whatever. We've had several of these, so I think it's, you know, just another version of those types of books. Which some of those I actually really like. There was one. Let me look it up real quick. I may have talked about it on the show before. It was like a guide to all the different religious beliefs in the Marvel Universe. What was that book called? It keeps pulling up Marvel Gods when I try to look it up. That is not the book I'm looking for. Darn. I'll have to find it.
What was it?
I was just talking about some of these, you know, I said we've got several books like this already. And there was one I was reading last year that I really liked, and I can't remember what it was called. But it was like a book that was like a guide to all the myths and legends of the Marvel Universe.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one.
That was, I didn't get to finish reading because I got it from the library, but I thought that was a really cool read. Like, it would give you like everything you wanted to know about the Eternals or the Thor, you know, the Norse gods or Black Panther or this or that. It went like really into detail of how all that stuff works. So
I like the art style. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool book, and it has like different sections. So there's like a 20-page section on Inhumans and 20-page section on Thor, and you know, so on.
Too many pages for Inhumans.
Well, or Eternals. But like, if you're just like, what is Eternals? I don't get it. Well, you could pick this up and you would know everything about Eternals, and you go, okay, got it. And I never want to read that again, but I got it. So,
Right.
only other thing that's going on is check out Kevin Eastman on Facebook. He is one of the creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. and him and I can't remember the artist's name, Williams or somebody. They've been pitching an idea for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Kiamondi crossover, and they've been posting preview pages from it, and it looks awesome. So
Mhm.
check that out. Support that project. Hopefully, they will get the green light. They love doing Ninja Turtle crossovers. So, I mean, it sounds like that really be on DC's end to make it happen. But they
Mhm.
have a relationship with them already with the Batman stuff. So, uh, that's kind of like the perfect crossover.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Kiamondi and TMNT. So, all right, let's get to our main topic.
All right. So, this is our ideas for Marvel vs. Capcom 4, which honestly, I don't think we're too far away from it. Because
They might be waiting for the sales numbers, but the
yeah.
reaction's already been so big that
Mhm.
I think it's probably going to happen.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of legalese and contracting going on
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
Oh, that's always been the issue with Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah,
And if I'm being completely honest, I don't like to. I mean, I'll do it. I'm gonna go ahead and shove Marvel under the bus. It's usually on their end.
oh,
um,
definitely. So with my list, you asked me to pick Marvel characters. I mostly just went for who are the most core Marvel characters, most popular. Uh, that being said, I don't think I have any Guardians of the Galaxies on my list because I don't see them as core characters. They're more side characters.
mhm.
So when I think Marvel, these are the characters I think of. Now, I did pick some random weird characters because it's a fighting game,
Yeah.
but most of my list is just going to be this is what I think is the core Marvel universe for my
Mhm.
characters.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we're gonna start off with. Honestly, I think this starts off with an odd pick. Not on my side, but on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Um we have. And by the way, in my head, I put two characters together. These are like the rival screens, and so we have Mr. Fantastic and Ryu. I don't really have to explain myself with Ryu, because I mean, at this point, he's kind of just Capcom's poster boy, even more than Mega Man at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but walk me through Mr. Fantastic.
So first, I was thinking we don't have any stretchy fighters, and I totally forgot about Dalsum.
Mhm.
But we do. So we do have stretchy fighters. The Fantastic Four have always gotten screwed over in Marvel video games, mostly due to Fox having the rights and stuff. So I thought it was time for
Mhm.
the Fantastic Four to really get their showing.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If I'm if Marvel versus Capcom marketing,
Mm-hmm.
um, the trailer, I think it would open up with Wolverine, just so that way, like, because of everything that happened with Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, you want to let people know, hey, we got mutants. Come on. uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that you would probably, if I'm just marketing and this was the roster I'm given, I would treat the Fantastic Four like Superman. You know?
Yeah, it should be a big deal that they're in this fighting game because
Mhm.
they historically haven't been.
Yeah. The closest thing, and this is why it's kind of a strange pick, but you get more in depth with the powers. In Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they had Super Scroll.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that they had Super Scroll was because you could consolidate all of their powers into one character.
Yeah, you have to take up 4 spaces in the
Yeah.
roster. Yeah.
But you have an interesting idea of going in depth. Like, I would imagine Mr. Fantastic is like uh, kind of a grappler, honestly.
Well, but he could also turn like a wrecking ball or all those goofy
Yeah.
shapes and stuff. So
Hmm.
there's a lot you could do of his character,
Hmm.
strangleholds, that all that types of things.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So
I also think that there's a and I this is just me in my head. Like I always think of like alternate costumes. I think the Maker would be a great alternate costume.
oh yeah, yeah.
Like and with Ryu, you have Evil Ryu, so it's Evil Reed versus Evil Ryu with
Hmm.
the alternate costumes. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So that's Mr. Fantastic. So the next one shouldn't be a surprise, but we have Invisible Woman and Chun Li. Uh, Once again, I really don't have to explain myself for Chun Li, and we've kind of gone over, the whole why as far as the Fantastic Four in general. What, how would you imagine Invisible Woman in a fighting game? Because whether it's force fields, telekinesis, or turning invisible, she's not a flashy character.
No, but she can also create like invisible battering rams and stuff and knock
Hmm.
you down with those. So she does have offensive powers,
Hmm.
and she can even turn you invisible. Though I don't know how that would. I mean, I guess you could mess up somebody if they didn't know what their character was all
Yeah,
of a sudden.
right, right.
So yeah, it'd be funny if she did something where also Franklin appeared next to her. Like he's been there the whole time. You just didn't know it. And he does something, or
Yeah,
so
like,
there's stuff you could do.
mhm.
It's you could get very creative with this woman, and a lot of writers will often tell you that she's the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four. I mean, she can give you a brain aneurysm if she wanted to.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think that you could get creative and definitely do some cool
Oh
stuff
yeah,
with Sue.
yeah. So next up, this one it's a newcomer on the Capcom side as well, but the Human Torch and Rashid. Rashid making his first appearance in Street Fighter V, and then also in Street Fighter 6. As far as Rashid basically already is a Marvel vs. Capcom character. He was jumping all over the place and had weird mix-ups and in a Street Fighter game, so you could just do what you did in Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6 and just put him in a Marvel game and he fits right in. As far as as far as the rivalry goes, I think it's interesting because you got Fire, but then you've got like a guy who shoots tornadoes at people.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like there's definitely a rivalry, and they're both kind of hot headed.
Hmm.
Um, and then
Yeah,
yeah.
Human Torch. Of course, he can fly, lob fireballs. He could melt projectiles. He could, probably make some type of fire shield.
Mhm.
He's got the Nova Flame.
Did you ever play Killer Instinct?
Very little, and that was a long time ago.
Okay, gotcha. There's a character called Cinder.
Hmm.
Um, in that game, and so I've always thought that would be a cool like Human Torch design.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then as far as a alternate costume, like I think the easy alternate costume would just be like his normal form, but he can still do his powers. Like,
Oh, normal Johnny. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, the Fantastic Four they've all had several costumes. The Future
hmm,
Foundation, although Johnny wasn't part of that. That was during the
yeah.
time when he was dead. So,
Mhm.
um, I think he had like when he came back, he had like a nihilist armor, so he could probably do something like that.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. So,
Um, and so next one, and this one is probably going to be from the fighting game people, my most unpopular pick. So we have the Thing and Luke, first appearing in Street Fighter V and kind of the poster boy of Street Fighter 6.
mhm.
Um, people people hate Luke, and the reason being is kind of just because of like the inspiration of Luke. Um, which is so like you had a character like Alex in Street Fighter 3 who was obviously based off of Hulk Hogan, and then his rival was Hugo, who was uh, uh, Andre the Giant. They've always kind of had like real life inspirations for fighters. Uh, Luke is Jake Paul. um,
Sure. Yeah.
he is kind of, he's hot headed. He's kind of an a-hole. And a lot of people, regardless of whether they get the joke or not, even if they get the joke, they just don't like him.
Mhm.
But I mean, we have to have. This is Marvel versus Capcom. We have to have representation from the most recent Street Fighter. Um,
Yeah.
and if Luke is the poster boy, he got to be in here.
And as for Thing, a lot of people don't realize that Thing used to be like Marvel's most popular character, especially during the 70s. He has his own cartoon shows. He had his own separate series, Marvel Team Up, where he would team up with other superheroes. And he spent most of his time in the comic books in a wrestling league in the comic books. So
Yeah.
he is a fighter, definitely.
And if I'm being honest, as one who is not, we've gone through a little bit of Fantastic Four, but I don't think we've gotten to like the famous stories. As a novice of Fantastic Four, I've always thought the Thing was the most interesting anyway.
Sure, he's the most tragic. And he has a good heart, but it's just a very tragic story. And there's this kind of he loves Reed, but he hates Reed for what he did to him. And there's this whole great dynamic between all these characters. And yeah, Uncle Benji, great character.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as the rivalry, it's the Fantastic Four versus the Street Fighters. I mean, that's there. But there's also the fact Luke kind of eats bricks, and the Thing is a brick.
So is Luke like a street thug, or is he just kind of a jerk fighter? What is he?
He's just kind of a jerk fighter.
Because the reason I asked, Thing has a rivalry with the Yancey Street Gang, so I didn't know if maybe we could tie that into the Yancey Street Gang put Luke up to fighting the Thing or something. So
that, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't put it past him. Honestly, you could definitely do that. So that covers the Street Fighter characters and the core Fantastic Four. So next up, we have Iron Man and Mega Man. Now, believe it or not, I have to explain myself for Mega Man.
Why? I mean, to me, he's a given.
Because he wasn't in Marvel 3,
Mhm.
and he wasn't in Marvel Infinite, and he hasn't had a game released in like 10 years.
What is the game where he looks really dumb? Like they made him look like the original version. There was some fighting game where they put him in, but he looked ridiculous.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Yeah, he looks, looks like a caveman or something.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I also have to explain that this is the original Mega Man, because in Marvel Infinite, Mega Man X was a character. But no X. This is, I need the original Mega Man. I need Rush to come in like as a spring and kind of assist and stuff. And I need him to have like the metal blades and I have to explain myself because why not Legends? Why not X? This is the original Mega Man, and at this point, it's time for him to come back into Marvel. He has not been in a versus game since 2000. So
Iron Man, I know he's been in a lot of these games, or War Machine, or a version of him has been. I really did not want to put him on this list because I can't stand Iron Man, but you have to have the big three of the Avengers on your list. So I reluctantly put him on there, and
and I'll go ahead and spoil. The core 6 are not on here.
Who's the core 6?
Well, so the Joss Whedon's Avengers.
Oh, the Hulk, Black. Well, because I think Black Widow and Hawkeye are both boring characters.
Yeah.
I mean, Hawkeye at least has attitude and has his moments, but I think the movie version at least is very boring.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't, and I'm not a big Avenger guy. and how many you gave me like 25 slots plus 3 DLC, so there's
Yep.
not a whole lot of space to
Oh
just
yeah.
fill us up with Avengers.
Right.
So
But yeah. I mean, Iron Man has been in these games since Marvel Superheroes, I think.
yeah, I mean he's a given. I didn't want him there, but he's so popular. Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, Spider-Man and Strider Hiryu. This rivalry, just because they're both fast and can cling to walls. Honestly, I don't think we have to explain either of these characters because Spider-Man
Yeah.
is Spider-Man, and then like Strider Hiryu, it is like he's the character that is known because of Marvel vs. Capcom. Like nobody knew Strider until Marvel vs. Capcom, and so at this point, he's just kind of synonymous.
Yeah, and Spider-Man, I went with Peter Parker. I mean, he could
Oh,
have
yeah.
done Miles or Gwen or whatever, but I felt like I wanted to go with the core classic characters of the Marvel universe.
Maximilian actually did both. He did Peter and Miles as separate characters, and I'm like, that feels like you could make him somewhat different because you could give Miles like the
Yeah, he's got
electricity.
different powers.
Yeah,
that at least makes a little sense. Yeah,
but you know, 25 slots fills up fast.
Jonathan, you were speaking my language right there. Kane
Whoa.
is awesome.
Oh God.
You are talking to a big Kane fan over here. So yes.
So yeah, like I think these we don't have to explain at all. And then another two that we don't have to explain at all. Wolverine has been in every single Capcom fighting game that has involved superheroes. All the way back to Children of the Atom, he has been in every single one of them except for Marvel Infinite.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you should open Marvel Infinite with
just have the snick sound, like
yeah,
just a sound effect, and you're like, okay, here we go.
You could even have the onomatopoeia like appear, you know. And then Zero is just cool, and he's also one of the most hated characters because of how good he always is. So I had to put him in there, and I love Zero. And as far as rivalries, honestly, it really came down to the fact that like a lightsaber versus adamantium, and they both have pointy ears.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. We have okay. So we got the Hulk, and then this is my first like deep cut. This is Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 remake.
Now, is that like a version of the Tyrant
Yeah, in a way, yes. So Resident Evil 2 the original Resident Evil 2 didn't really have like a nemesis or a tyrant type character. So in the remake, they added Mr. X, and Mr. X is dope. And so we need some big bodies. We got to show our grappler players some love, and I didn't want to put Nemesis in the game again, just because he's already been in two of them, and Mr. X is just so cool. And I think it'd be cool, like, to give Hulk like his Mr. Fix outfit, and they'd both have trench coats and fedoras.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Hulk is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and I think one of Marvel's most popular characters. I mean, throughout their history, he's been one of their most popular characters. And you get to have Hulk versus Thing in this game, so that'd be fun. Yeah, I mean, Hulk's kind of a no-brainer for me.
Oh, yeah. Let's
You know what'd be cool if Hulk is if when you started the fight, you fought as Bruce Banner. And when you take so much damage, then he turns to the Hulk and his whole moveset just changes, and then you're Hulk for the rest of the match.
That would be fun. I wouldn't know how to.
You can throw test tubes at people and stuff, Bruce.
Oh yeah. Have him play kind of like the Atom in Injustice 2, because the Atom in Injustice 2, he can go mini and stuff like that. But he was also throwing test tubes at people, and it was really funny.
Yeah.
And the thing is you, depending on in what order you threw the test tubes, because that's how chemistry works, something different would happen.
Actually, it'd be funny if he didn't have any special moves at all. He could just punch and kick, and he just keeps yelling, "Don't! You'll make me angry!
Yeah.
Don't!" And then once you hit him so much, he just turns to the Hulk. And
Yeah.
then there's a challenge: can you beat somebody as Bruce Banner?
Yeah.
There's a whole thing that comes into play. Yeah, that's how you do the character.
Yeah, that's the next Evo moment.
Bruce Banner champion.
Next up,
no Hulk speed run. Yeah.
No Hulk speed run. So next up we have Captain America and Beautiful Joe. First of all, as far as the rivalry, these guys are just the quintessential superheroes of their respective companies, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say this is actually the first character, because not only was I doing like my choices, but also like what the people would want. I personally don't care for Beautiful Joe as a fighting game character.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what the people want. I know the people want him, and I get in trouble if I didn't have him in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we had to put Beautiful Joe here.
Henshin a go baby.
Henshin a go baby.
I mean, it's Captain America. You
Yeah.
have to have him in the game. He's awesome. One of the faces of Marvel. I don't think he needs much explanation.
Yeah, I mean, and he has been in every Capcom fighting game that has not explicitly said X-Men. Because he's not in Children of the Atom, and he's not in X-Men versus Street Fighter. But Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, and all of the Marvel versus Capcom, he's there.
Mm-hmm.
Even Iron Man was missing in the first Marvel whenever it was War Machine, but Captain America has been there.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, another deep cut on my end. We have Thor versus Asura. Now, Asura's Wrath is a game that came out maybe like 15 years ago. And honestly, it's one of those games where someone said, hey, you know all of the cool parts of a video game that like we build up to normally? Yeah. What if those were just like, what if that was just the game? It was just those parts. Like we didn't build up to it. We just had those parts scene after scene after scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is very much the type, to give perspective, Asura is the type of character. He can punch things until they explode, including planets. And he has a form where he has like 8 arms and they all punch like JoJo style. I would love this character to be in a Marvel vs. Capcom game. He wasn't in Marvel 3, even though I think he would have fit perfectly in Marvel 3. He wasn't there because he honestly was just too new at the time for anyone to care.
Yeah, I struggled with this pick. I love Thor, but I really wanted to put Beta Ray Bill in here.
Yeah, I had to. I let you do your list. I had to ring you in on this one. I'm like,
yeah. If I was doing variants, I would have done like Iron Maniac for Iron Man, the evil Iron Man, and Thunder Beta Ray Bill. But yeah. If we're doing the classics, you got to do Thor. Yeah, Thunderstrike would be an outlook for Thor. Absolutely. You could do Thor Girl or Jane Foster Thor. They'll probably put Jane Foster Thor in this game instead of Thor. Wouldn't surprise me.
Maybe you know what? I don't know about that because I know a lot of people just did not like Love and Thunder at all. Like it was not
true.
popular.
It's true, but I just know Marvel's always trying to push variants of their characters, and we brought back Wolverine, but it's X-23, and you're like, no.
Yeah. And then as far as the rivalry, Thor's a god and Asura's a god killer. So
I haven't looked at my list since I sent like last Wednesday. Is this it for Avengers on my list, or is there? I mean, I know like Doctor Strange is an Avenger, but classic Avengers. Oh, we'll figure it out. But I didn't put a whole lot of Avengers on my list.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like I said, the core 6. There's no Ant-Man or anything like that. Ant-Man would be cool.
I thought about it, but yeah, I was just trying to go for to me,
Mhm.
what is the core of Marvel, and
Yeah.
I couldn't put all X-Men, I couldn't put all Avengers,
Yeah.
so I had to pick and choose.
Uh, this. I'm proud of this rivalry. I'm very proud of this. We have the Punisher versus Phoenix Wright. Now Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright is a character that I have never played as Phoenix Wright. I've never had a desire to play Phoenix Wright. I have a lot of friends who play Phoenix Wright in Marvel 3, and
Mhm.
I just love watching him. Like, I don't even
Yeah,
play this
it's
character.
funny.
I just want to see it. And just going into cross examination mode against the Punisher.
Yeah.
So,
I'm surprised you didn't have the rivalry as spoilers for characters. Gonna be on this list. Daredevil.
so I did think about that.
Uh-huh.
I went for the memes.
Okay. Yeah, this is funny. Yeah, this is like Punisher versus Archie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like it's the trial of Frank Castle with Phoenix Wright as the prosecutor. It's like, you're definitely guilty. Oh man. If I'm being honest, like the Punisher Capcom game is super dope, and it's also going to be in the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. But Frank Castle has never appeared in any Marvel vs. Capcom game.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought he was in one for some reason, but
No.
yeah.
No,
Huh.
no. He might have been an assist character for Marvel versus Capcom,
Yeah.
where like you just got the random characters.
Mhm.
But he has never been in any of these games as a playable character.
Huh. I know Marvel's been really weird about not using Punisher lately because of people using Punisher for political symbols or whatever, the skull and all
Yeah.
this. So I if they do it, I want classic Punisher, So
But it'll probably if they want to put Frank Castle, and like they're like, oh, it might they might combine Ghost Rider and Punisher and do Cosmic Ghost Rider.
maybe. And I'm not opposed to Cosmic Ghost Rider. I think Cosmic Ghost Rider is fun, but if you're going
Yeah.
for what I consider classic core Marvel, Punisher is part of that. So
Yeah. Honestly, I think the most he's ever been playable is Punisher Cap was an alternate costume for Captain America in Marvel 3.
Yeah.
So, let's see. There we go. Okay, so this is a Daredevil and Akira. Akira is a biker from rival schools, and I really, for me, the rivalry is like the hand martial arts, uh, like secret society type organizations, because half of Daredevil's interest is courtroom drama, the other half is martial arts, and so that's where this comes from. And then as far as Akira, I wanted a rival schools representative, and she was already in Street Fighter V as a guest character, so we kind of have a baseline for her in a Marvel game.
yeah, and has Daredevil been in any of these games?
Nope. He might. At most, some of these characters may have appeared in endings, like arcade endings.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he would make a lot of sense. And I think it'd be cool is if it wouldn't work every time, but he would almost have like an auto dodge where he would, see a projectile coming and auto dodge it, but it has a chance to fail,
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that'd be a cool mechanic.
you know what? I actually, the mechanic I would do, it may not be an auto dodge, but almost like a Street Fighter 3 parry system, except like if you press back to block at like the right frame, then he dodges and like you don't even take chip damage or anything like that.
Yeah.
That kind of a
He's got the Billy Club and all those cool stuff that come with that. And
oh yeah.
yeah.
And he could have I think it'd be funny. Now that you got me on it, his level 3 could be similar to Phoenix Wright's, where he's like, "I know you're guilty."
Yeah. Or at least
Um,
his victory, whatever. He would say something
yeah.
about case closed.
Case closed. Oh man. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So we have Doctor Strange versus Amaterasu. Amaterasu is from the Okami series, and I think she was one of the coolest characters in Marvel 3, and it was a shame she didn't come back. And I wanted some diversity. You really don't get a a a dog character in a fighting game a lot. And whenever I say that, like this is not a bipedal dog. She's on all fours like a dog.
Yeah, yeah.
And as far as the rivalry, I feel like Doctor Strange is the type to make friends with a magical dog.
Sure. I think he has made friends with a magical dog, if I recall. Doctor Strange, I think, was in part 3, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, if I recall.
3 and Infinite.
Yeah. So, he's a classic, classic old school character. So, yeah, I just thought he would fit. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh
3
yeah.
men.
And we have Ghost Rider and Firebrand.
Mhm.
Firebrand from Ghosts and Goblins. He's a really cool character, and I didn't want to put Arthur in this game because I'm sick of Arthur in these games, but I like Firebrand. So he's the Ghosts and Goblins representative, and he is a demon, and so is Ghost Rider.
He's really fun to play as.
Oh, he's so fun. I love him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so I guess this is Johnny Blaze. I didn't really think about which Ghost Rider this is. I mean, Danny Ketch would be fine, but they would probably make it the new one that drives the car.
Robbie Reyes.
Yeah. But again, I was thinking classic character, so probably Johnny Blaze. Yeah, Ghost Rider. I wanted someone that was kind of representing the dark side of the Marvel universe, and he's a classic enough character.
Yeah, and I think they would probably go with Johnny Blaze just because. So he's been in Marvel 3 and Marvel Infinite, so like his playstyle and character model is already there, so they'd probably go with Johnny Blaze just for simplicity's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the penance stare is not a Johnny Blaze thing, that's a Dan Ketch thing. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay, so we have Nova versus. So this is Nina. Nina is from a little known game, and whenever I say little known, like that's not me being sarcastic. Have you ever played Breath of Fire?
I know of it. I've never played it.
That's most people. But I think it's about time that we had some Breath of Fire representation in Marvel vs. Capcom. And Nina is kind of like the Cid from Final Fantasy, or just the character. No matter what the story is, she's always there and is always like a major character in all of the games. Plus the wings, and she can fly. I thought she'd be a really cool character.
Mm-hmm. And as for Nova, I know he's been in some of the previous games. He, to me, it should be like Marvel doesn't promote Nova enough. He should be their Green Lantern character, like on the level of Green Lantern, and they just don't do it for whatever reason. That I'm not gonna get on a rant about Marvel right now. So, but Nova is an awesome character. He's kind of perfect for a fighting game. So,
yeah. He is. This is my main character, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. This and one other character is about as close as I got to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So,
I will go on a brief rant and then move on because you mentioned him. Green Lantern. Can we stop casting Josh Brolin in everything? That's all I have to say.
Well, if you're doing a video game movie, you gotta get Chris Pratt and Jack Black. If you're doing a superhero movie, you gotta get Josh Brolin.
That's next up, we have Silver Surfer and Hayato. So a lot of people don't remember Hayato, but they do now because of the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 trailer showed off Plasma Sword. And so historically, Hayato, um, he has only been in one of Marvel vs. Capcom game. He was in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and he was garbage. None of his normals comboed into anything. He couldn't combo into his super. This character was, for all intents and purposes, broken. Like, he didn't work.
Yeah, broken in the bad way, not the
Yeah.
good way.
Yeah, and so I want to bring back Capcom's Luke Skywalker and make him good this time.
I understand. Was Silver Surfer in Marvel Superheroes Battle for the Gems, whatever that game was called?
Oh, he hasn't been in any of the fighting games.
Okay.
There was one that I think you're thinking of called War of the Gems, which was a sequel to Mutant Apocalypse.
Oh, that was like a side scroller or something.
Yeah, he might have been in that, but I don't remember. If I'm being completely honest, I'm surprised that you put Nova because Nova and Silver Surfer have kind of, they're like our cosmic representation. I'm surprised you put both of them above Adam Warlock, just because it's you.
Well, like I said, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're not on this list because I don't think of them as the core classic characters. And we did an episode once before about the Marvel lifeboat, who gets to survive and who doesn't. And that's kind of my thinking was, well, who are your essential Marvel characters? And Silver Surfer is, that's an OG Stan Lee, Jack Kirby creation there. So he goes on the list.
Jonathan, this is as much as I want Chris Pratt involved in this universe. But yeah, I mean, as far as the rivalry, I mean, like Star Wars. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
I believe next up we're getting into our villains. Marvel vs. Capcom has always, it's always been about the hyper combos and the infinites and whatnot. But people love playing as the villains, and so we gotta go with the classic villains, Doctor Doom and Albert Wesker. Assist Me fans, rise up. These two characters are as popular as they are in the Marvel games because of Maximilian's Assist Me series. And I don't know. I like Albert Wesker, and this is specifically the Resident Evil 5 Wesker, because this is the one with Ouroboros and the one that can teleport and stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I know that Doom has been in some of these games, and I thought that if you got the Fantastic Four, you gotta have Doom.
Of course, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And he's like I said, he is one of the most popular characters. And there is a good chance that I wouldn't be as big of a Doctor Doom fan myself if not for this, because like I play him on pretty much all of my teams in any of these games. So I play him in Marvel 2 a little bit. That's Cameron.
Oh.
But yeah, so I mean, like these two, I think these would be kind of like the poster boy villains. And then next up, I believe this is a newcomer on the Marvel side. We have Dr. Octopus versus Tron-Bonne. As far as Tron-Bonne, she was in Marvel 2 and Marvel 3. She's always been a pretty popular character. And just to get some more villain representation on the Capcom side, we had to get one Mega Man villain. And
yeah, and I thought Spider-Man's a big franchise, so it deserves more representation. And Doc Ock is one of my favorite characters. I think he'd have an interesting move set with the arms, so I threw him on the list.
I always thought it was weird that, like, I understand like why he may not have been in Marvel 3 or Marvel Infinite. The fact that he wasn't in Marvel 2 is weird because they put a lot of people in Marvel 2. And like I could imagine him being really fun.
I was trying to figure out what villain to go for. Like I could have done Green Goblin. I almost considered him, but yeah, at the end of the day, Doc Ock is just classic.
Oh yeah,
it'd be fun to play as. So
And then we have Venom versus Jeddah. Jeddah is the main villain of the Darkstalkers series. We had to get some Darkstalkers representation, and he didn't appear in a Marvel game until Infinite. And his playstyle was super, super interesting. So I almost, I'm not going to say wasted on that game because I do like Marvel Infinite, but wasted in the sense that a lot of people didn't play that game, and I want more people to experience this character.
Mm-hmm. And Venom is kind of the quintessential Spider-Man villain. He's extremely popular, one of my favorite characters, and I think he's been in quite a few of these games. So,
oh yeah, he's been in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Infinite. Yeah, he's been in 3 of them at this point. So
yeah.
definitely need to get him back. And then it's time. We've gone over all these mainstay characters that that are fun. It's time to get into the X-Men. Woo!
Yeah.
So we have Cyclops versus Leo. Leo is the main character of the Red Earth series, which is it's like an animalistic fighting game that Capcom did. We've never had one of their characters in here, and so I thought it would just be really fun. And then the rivalry is that these are both leaders of their kind.
Yeah. It was really hard not to make this whole list just X-Men characters, so I had to really limit who got in. Cyclops. Like, to me, the big four are Cyclops, Wolverine, Jean Grey, Professor X. Of course, Professor X. I almost put him on the list. I didn't. It would have been fun though.
There's a comedy sketch from like the Game Station or something. They came out like maybe 10, 15 years ago, where they have the Marvel vs. Capcom auditions, and it's Ryu, Trish, and Magneto, and Professor X wheels in, and he's like, "Oh, this is adorable," and then he just does like his little mind thing. It's like, "Well, what just happened?" "Oh, I went into my opponent's mind and deconstructed him mentally." Blah blah blah. It's like, here's the thing, man. This is Marvel vs. Capcom. If you can't shoot a laser the size of the screen, you're basically useless.
Yeah. So there's a lot of X-Men that were initially on my list I had to later take off. Some that I know have been in these games. Like, I don't think she's on the list. I'm just trying to glance real quick. Like, I think Psylocke was on my list at one point, and probably Gambit. So I did take some people off. So if they're missing, it's just because I didn't have a whole lot of space to work with in here. So
honestly, as far as X-Men characters, in my opinion, I think there's only one miss. I'll go ahead and spoil who it is. The Bot is missing. That's that. I think that's the only X-Men character that.
The who?
The Bot, Sentinel.
Oh, Sentinel.
Yeah. The whack bot, as people call him.
Okay.
Very, very popular character. Always.
I figured you're talking about the Sentinel, but I didn't know if this was some character like Mocap or something that I didn't know about that I loved.
No, definitely. So this is a Marvel game without Sentinel, but we have other interesting, like Storm versus Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter first appeared as a character in Infinite, and she was one of... Honestly, I think in the game of Marvel Infinite, she was the most well-designed character in that entire game. She was a lot of fun to use. She had different play styles. She was rushdown, zoner, but also had armor on like her big sword moves. Just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Storm initially wasn't on my list, but I did add her. She is, just has really great options for move sets. I think she's been in a lot of the games. So
yep, she honestly, I would say she is probably the second most popular X-Men character amongst fighting game players in these games. So yeah, we definitely had to put Storm in here, and the rivalry is just Monster Hunter is a survival game, and you have to deal with the weather a lot. And so I thought that rivalry was just cool, as like, you know, actually dealing with the weather.
And does Monster Hunter deal with nature a lot? Because Storm's like obsessed with nature.
So. Oh yeah. I mean, Monster Hunter. I mean, like, it brass tacks. You break it down. Monster Hunter is like a really like. It's got a lot of eco-conservative messages in it. Very much so. So they're very similar characters anyway. Next up, this one I may have changed a little bit, because on yours, no, next one, no, that's the next one. So we have Rogue and Jill Valentine. These are two characters, and the rivalry is the fact that they are some of the most popular female characters in Marvel 2. That, I mean, it's time for them to come back. And for me, Jill Valentine, this is specifically stars Jill. Jill Valentine did appear in Marvel 3, but it was like the Resident Evil 5 version, and I don't want that. I want the one from Resident Evil 1, the one that threw zombies at people before Frank West was ever even existed. She had the big rocket launcher. That's the Jill Valentine I want.
Rogue is one of my favorite characters, just bar none. Just one of my favorite characters, and I was really tempted to put Gambit on this list because this is kind of the year of Gambit. He had his big X-Men 97 moment. He had his Deadpool Wolverine moment. So I was really tempted to put Gambit, but I went with Rogue. So
yeah.
Yeah, and Caleb is turning into a Sentinel as we speak.
You am I?
Yes.
Oh, dang it. All
right.
Let's see. Okay. We'll make it through this. We're
getting close to the end, so
we need the whack bot. So this is the one I changed because you said Jean Grey,
and I was thinking Phoenix when I wrote it. So that's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, this is Phoenix. These are Phoenix and Morgan are the some of the most hated characters in Marvel vs. Capcom history because of how overpowered they are. So of course we had to bring them back and make them rivals.
So I wasn't aware if Jean was ever in one of these games. So
yes. So her gimmick is she was in Marvel 3. And she was in Marvel 3 Vanilla. She was the best character in the game. In Ultimate, she was top 5. Her gimmick is she has the lowest health in the game. She pretty much dies in one combo. But if she dies with five bars, like 5 hyper bars, she comes back as Dark Phoenix and becomes the most overpowered character. She is so fast you can't react to her mix-ups. She has so much armor. Like she is one of the most overpowered characters in fighting game history. which makes sense for the character.
Yes.
And then Morrigan, she had her astral vision, and so she would just shoot fireballs all day. Essentially, she was the Mega Man. She was the real Mega Man character because she was the Mega Man level where you had to dodge all the fireballs. But yeah, Phoenix and Morrigan, and yeah, I mean we've already dealt with the confusion between Phoenix and Phoenix Wright. We've dealt with that for years, so it's fine.
Well, I think Smash Bros. Is worse when it has 2 Roy characters. So
yeah. So we have Deadpool and Dante. Dante is just at this point, he's one of the mainstay characters. Like, you can't have a Marvel vs. Capcom game without Dante. Swords and guns, red, Am I describing both of these characters? Absolutely. Both have mouths on them. But yeah, more Dante. I'd actually like this to be Devil May Cry 5 Dante, because in Marvel 3 and Marvel Infinite, it was Devil May Cry 3. But this one, I want him to like ride around on his motorcycle and start like chainsawing people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Deadpool's Deadpool. He's just a fun character. All the one-liners are fun, and you know, he just had a movie come out, so he makes sense for the game.
Yeah. So he was in Marvel 3 as well. Do you remember what his level 3 was?
I know I've played that game like on the PS3 way back in the day. I don't remember what it was.
So his level 3, it was a counter move. So he would walk. Essentially, he would you would cast level 3, and he'd start walking around like Betty Boop. He went oop boop beep doop like that. And if you hit him, then he would flashbang you, and then he would just start beating you with the hyper combo meter. Like he would grab the hyper combo meter from the bottom of the screen and just start beating you with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it. And he had this one move that became legendary because it happened at the first Evo that Marvel 3 was at. So he had to teleport because most people don't know this. Deadpool can teleport. But you could do it. You could only do it 3 times. And on the 4th time, it would malfunction and explode, and it would only do like 5 damage. Which in this game, everyone has base 1 million damage. So it would only do 5 damage. But there was a point where someone was making a comeback as Deadpool, and they had like the magic pixel, and he lost count of his teleports, and he accidentally killed himself on the stage.
Deadpool exploding.
Yeah. His death scream was, "You pressed the wrong button!" Oh man. And then finally, so this is on the base roster, and then we have 3 DLC each. Nightcrawler and Nero. Nero is one of my favorite Capcom characters. He's the son of Virgil. Dante is his uncle. And Devil May Cry 5 is just a phenomenal game. The Devil Breaker, which is his robot arm, is super cool. You can do so much with it. And go on with Nightcrawler. I don't know. So Nightcrawler's never been in one of these games,
which makes no sense because Nightcrawler is awesome. He's a swordsman. He teleports. He's a swashbuckler. There's all kinds of stuff you could do with Nightcrawler.
Yeah. And I would definitely, even sort of the rivalry, I think, is obvious. They're both blue swords, demons. This is the rivalry that I would like. I would like base the game around. Like this would be like on the, like it would be Ryu and Mr. Fantastic on there, but like Nightcrawler and Nero would also be on the cover as well. So that's the base roster, and you may have noticed that there may be some characters that are missing. That's why we have DLC. And so we have some fan favorites coming up here. We have Squirrel Girl and Edward Falcon.
I'm a big Squirrel Girl fan. I don't like her current comic book, but her early appearances I think are so funny, and just the idea of attacking people like a horde of squirrels just charging at them. I think would be hilarious.
Apparently people are like really down with this character, because when I was looking for like pictures to put in this, it was all just fan art of Lily from like the T-Mobile or Sprint commercials or wherever she's from. Yeah.
Well, she was cast as Squirrel Girl in the New Warrior show, and it didn't go forward.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's probably why.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. And Edward Falcon, this is the poster boy of Power Stone. And we've never really had a Power Stone representative. And I mean, Power Stone is kind of like, in addition to like Marvel vs. Capcom and Soul Calibur, Power Stone is kind of the Dreamcast fighting game. And so we definitely needed some Edward Falcon in here. Especially along with Hayato. People are gonna know more about him because of the Capcom Fighting Collection 2.
Yeah, and so Squirrel Girl, I'd say it's my weirdest pick, but maybe not. I got another weird pick coming up.
I don't understand this next pick, so you will have to explain it to me. I imagine that they'll play kind of like Rocket Raccoon did in Marvel Infinite, where it's Rocket and Groot. So like, we'll just go ahead. We have Howard the Duck and Man Thing versus Leon S. Kennedy. As far as Leon S. Kennedy, we're back to a character that I don't have to explain myself for. Everyone loves Resident Evil 4. Everyone loves Resident Evil 2. Why has Leon not appeared in one of these games yet? Forget Chris Redfield. We have Leon. And then take it away. I don't know what's going on here.
Well, Howard the Duck teams up with Man Thing quite often. If you don't know, Man Thing is the guardian of the Portal Nexus in Florida, I think it is.
So already you've kind of like intrigued, because I didn't know that they teamed up a lot.
I think they were both created by Steve Gerber. That I might be wrong about that, but they are connected characters. Because Howard the Duck is from a different portal. I don't know if Man Thing had anything to do with that, but they have definitely met up quite a bit. Howard the Duck doesn't really have any powers, but I thought he'd be a fun, because Man Thing's the real fighter here, plan attacks, but he also, whoever fears him burns at his touch. So I thought the more he damages you, the more your fear goes up, the more like you'll start catching fire and stuff as he's attacking you.
And what I think would be cool is I agree with you that Man Thing is one doing all the damage. I think the character that you play as is Howard the Duck.
Okay.
And then like all of your special moves are Man Thing jumping in and doing something. Because that's what like you play as Rocket Raccoon, but your special moves are like Groot coming in and like doing some sort of stretchy thing or something like that, like being the muscle. And so I think it's funny if Howard the Duck's like running around the screen, and then
so I'm not imagining this. This is something in the comics. So this is a HeroClix figure of them together. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was like, because you sent me your list, and I'm like, so is like, did he mean or? Like, did he not? Because and even then, we have two different characters. Because if it's Man Thing, sure, I get it. We had Swamp Thing and Injustice. You want Howard the Duck? Like, you want a joke character? You want a Dan Hibiki? So yeah, I was definitely confused. And then there came a point where I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna Google Howard the Duck and Man Thing, and like it came up. And I'm like, oh, he means both.
And I just Googled it. Howard the Duck knows Quack Fu. So
yes,
he does have some fighting moves.
Yes. I remember that line from the George Lucas film. And even as a kid, I'm like, why didn't he go with Tai Quack Do?
and the other thing is, Man Thing's guarding a portal, so you can do some stuff with portals and stuff. You can have all kinds of fun with these characters.
Yeah.
So.
So here's the thing. I don't think people would buy this DLC. Like this pack. I don't like, based on these four characters. Like, people like Leon. People have been wanting Leon. I don't think people would buy this. And so that's why in the trailer we have these characters, and then out of nowhere, Magneto and Virgil.
Yeah, I purposely put Magneto in the DLC list because it's like there's always that one character. Like, why are they not in the base roster? And so they put that one character in the DLC to make you buy it.
And then Virgil, forever. So Virgil, I would say in the Marvel vs. Capcom history, Virgil is the most hated because he is the most powerful. He is the best character in pretty much any of these games. he will forever be pay to win in my mind. And so I would imagine, like, the DLC trailer. It's like, Edward Falcon and Squirrel Girl fighting and just having a grand old time. Leon just kind of like dodging and weaving, Man Thing with Howard the Duck on his shoulders, something like that. And then out of nowhere, there's just a giant pillar of purple lasers and a blue judgment cut. Boom! Everyone goes flying, and it's just down to Virgil and Magneto, and everyone would get hype at that point. Like,
Mhm.
I
How many games has Magneto been in? Because like I said, I'm not familiar with all the rosters.
X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel versus Superhero versus Street Fighter, Marvel. Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes. He has been in every single one of them except for Marvel Infinite, and in Marvel vs. Capcom 1, he was an assist character. In every other one, he has been a playable character, and in every single one, he has been top 5.
Mm-hmm.
He is always one of the best characters, no matter what.
So, as someone who I'm not terribly familiar with these rosters, who did I miss that like people are like, where's this character in Marvel?
So Sentinel, definitely.
Mhm.
We already went over like Gambit. I think Hawkeye was pretty popular in Marvel 3 and Marvel Infinite.
I think Iron Fist was in part 3, right?
Yeah, but nobody liked him.
Yeah.
People love Dormammu. Everyone just loves Dormammu.
Yeah.
And
Shuma Gorath or whatever.
And Shuma Gorath. So Shuma Gorath is one that is interesting because Shuma Gorath is only interesting because of these games.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like, Capcom loves this character, and so I think that Shuma Gorath has been in about as many of these games as Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Shuma, Sentinel, and Shuma are like the two. Everyone else is like, yeah, they're fun. But and then on my end, I know I missed some. Nathan Rad Spencer from Bionic Commando. Akuma was one that, like, I didn't want to leave off, but I'm like, we gotta give other people some love. I think on my end, it's probably Akuma is probably the one that I missed that people will be the most angry about.
Yeah, a couple that were on my list at one point, I removed them. Namor, Black Panther, I think Thanos were probably the other 3 that I was like really close to putting on the list. I just didn't.
Believe it or not, I would have loved Namor to be in this game.
Okay.
Because I could beat on him.
Yeah.
There's always a character that I always pick. Like, no matter what the fighting game is, there's always a character that I hate. And so, like, if I go into training mode, that's the character I pick to beat on them while I'm practicing combos. They would have been Namor.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, this is Uncanny Marvel vs. Capcom 4, Fate of Top Tiers, coming sometime.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty solid roster. I mean, some of those Capcom characters I'm not familiar with. They all looked cool though.
Mm-hmm.
So, Caleb,
the Wizard,
and Paste Pot Pete. What is on the docket for next week?
I believe we are going into part 2 of Bone.
Yeah, so if you have not watched part 1, go watch it or go get the books from the library. They are awesome. You will not be disappointed. Highly recommend it. If you have children, read one for your children. They are great. And we're going to be reading books 4, 5, and 6 this week and going over them.
Collectively known as Solstice, apparently.
Yeah.
And we'll be comparing and contrasting them to Rings of Power.
Yes, in depth, Rings of Power and Dustborn and Concord and all those other cool things that the people love.
Oh man, the Concord stuff I am having a blast with.
Yeah, that's
man, and so I said it immediately once they said that they weren't going to be supporting it. There's an episode in Secret Level about Concord, and they've said that it's still going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, you've already spent all that money.
Yeah.
You have to release it.
Asmongold said something, and I have to word this very, very carefully, but Asmongold said something about it. It was only 9 days, and so he's like, that's not even. Oh wait, we're an hour and 40 minutes in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and say what he said, because if you're here, you're here. He said that's not even an abortion. That's still the pill.
Wow,
I know.
That's dark.
That is dark.
So getting back to wholesome stuff, next week we'll be reviewing Bone Volumes 4 through 6, which is the Dragon Slayer, Rockjaw, Master of the Eastern Border, and Old Man's Cave. We get these later volumes. I don't remember them as well as the earlier volumes, so this will be fun for me also to revisit these. So I can't wait. More Bone is always a good thing.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying these.
Yep. So join us next week. But until next time, I'm Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
And we'll catch you next time in the Shark Pond.
See ya.